Okay, update on precious metals. I just wanted to elaborate on what I posted on Twitter. So we'll start with gold. We'll start on the weekly chart. This is week 18. You can notice this is something that, most of the markets did just in general. We had a bearish outside week. So we poked up. This was nice bright green at one point, and then we just came down and completely failed. Now, the thing is that we have had a swing high since week 12, so we've already been declining for like 6 weeks. And it's funny how you'll notice a lot of people on Twitter seem to have just kind of noticed. And so we're probably not too far away from the low. Now, it could go really deep and be scary. That's totally possible. But at this point, I wouldn't be super concerned about a ton more downside, at least specifically for gold. The monthly chart doesn't look very promising. Um, it's just an inside month. I pointed this out when we made this candle here with the huge upper wick. Best case scenario was probably an inside month, which is what we're getting. So again, I think gold isn't set up too terribly here. And then if you look at the daily, we had our swing high on day 14. We are currently on day 18, so we're seeking out a DCL. We'd ideally like to stay above 1890, which is where we bottomed out, which was our previous DCL, to not have a failed cycle. Although, since we are moving deeper, moving into that final ICL, we might expect that this will break. Just I would be prepared for that. And if we move over to silver, that is looking much weaker. So silver is day 18. Our swing high was on day 13. And when I say silver is looking much weaker, it's practically already failed. It is moving into an ICL like gold, except the catch with silver is it topped out on week 6, right? So if you count this as your ICL, and I know this is a little squirrely, maybe you could even say this was your ICL, right? Like if this was your ICL, then this would be week 12, right? So either way, this was your swing high week, the same week that gold had its swing high, and we've kind of consolidated down here, and now we're starting to break down. This was week 12, and so my thinking, you can look at this yourself. We really don't have weekly cycles that are much shorter, than 25 weeks. Sometimes you have your outliers, like a really short one here on week 14, short one here week 17. So we'll have to see. Maybe we get lucky, we get one of those short ones. I wouldn't count on it, especially with stocks falling into June, into sort of July, August. So I'd be careful here. I would be careful listening to people telling you silver is going to the moon tomorrow, because this picture does not look pretty. And if we switch over to the monthly chart, we've almost made a new monthly low. That's not what you would expect to see if we're about to see a sort of powerful rally. And so again, I would temper one's expectations. The level we need to look for to break is basically right around that $24 level, which you would expect that we are going to break that next week. And finally, I'll jump over to the miners, which generally um, have been outperforming gold. So again, remember gold had its swing high like almost 6 weeks ago. We just printed our swing high for GDX, so that was on week 12. This is a pretty dramatic swing high. I mean, think about this. This wipes out all your gains from this week, and pretty much it's like 3 weeks of gains just wiped out in one candle. And you look at the monthly chart, definitely looking possibly like a false breakout. I mean, we break this downtrend line. It looks like it's broken with force, and then we just come back. And I'll point out, like a lot of things are looking, this looks like it wants to make a bearish outside bar, so that would be a move below 34.83. I and we probably don't get there before the end of April, since April ends next month. But you could see a world where we get a bounce out of a DCL, and then we make this low here. So I'd really be watching this level, this call it 34.80. Like we probably need to get down there before we see a low for GDX. And last thing I'll look at really quickly is the ratio of GDX to GLD. And so that has fallen pretty hard as well. Big big swing high on week 10. Um, so similar picture of the GDX itself, just telling you that the metals are not ready to rally right now, and we're going to want to watch out that this doesn't become a larger degree top and that this isn't really a false breakout.